7 Ways to torture a narcissist. When you're dealing with a narcissist, it can feel like they've built an entire world around you, and in that world, they are the sun. It seems like they have complete control over your emotional weather, and they thrive on the storms they create. They can pull you into a vortex of chaos that leaves you feeling powerless, confused, and just completely drained. Your reality gets distorted, reshaped by their needs, their drama, and their endless hunger for control. Every time you react, you're feeding their ego. Your frustration is their fuel. Your anger is their victory. You've been pulled into their game, and you have to understand, the rules are rigged against you from the start. It feels like they wrote the rule book, control the game board, and change the rules with every move you make. To play their game is to accept a state of defeat. But what if you could refuse to play? What if you could use ancient, battle-tested wisdom to turn the game completely on its head? We're going to explore 7 ways to metaphorically torture a narcissist by making them powerless. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about seeking revenge or maliciously hurting someone. This is about something far more important: reclaiming your peace, your mind, and your freedom. These strategies come from the ancient school of Stoicism, a philosophy designed for resilience in a world of chaos. By mastering yourself, you'll master the game without ever having to play it again. The first way: starve them of your attention. The real currency for someone driven by narcissistic traits isn't just money or power. The one thing they truly crave is your attention. Both positive and negative attention work for them. Your praise inflates their ego, sure, but your anger, your frustration, your tears, these things validate their sense of importance just as much. When you get drawn into their drama, you're confirming that they matter, that they have the power to affect you. This is the supply they're looking for. The Stoics understood this with total clarity. They taught that the path to peace lies in knowing what's in our control and what isn't. The words and actions of other people fall squarely into that second category. To give them an emotional reaction is to hand over your own power. The great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The narcissist's behavior is an outside event. Their provocations and insults are just storms raging outside the fortress of your mind. You don't have to let them in. This process begins with silence. Imagine they send you a provocative text designed to bait you into a fight. You might have spent hours crafting a perfect defense, pointing out their lies, and pleading with them to see reason. The Stoic, you simply puts the phone down. You can read the message, see the bait for what it is, a bid for your attention, and choose to give it none. This kind of indifference can be baffling to them. They are skilled at emotional manipulation, but they don't have a playbook for dealing with a void. Your silence isn't passive. It's an active, powerful statement. It says, you aren't important enough to warrant a response. Your chaos has no home here. This might confuse them, and they may even get frustrated and escalate their attempts to get a reaction. But when they're met with consistent, unwavering silence, they have to face a reality where they can't control you. This withdrawal of your attention is the first step in taking back your power. The second way: not forge unbreakable boundaries. For someone with strong narcissistic traits, a boundary can feel like a direct challenge. A boundary is a declaration of your independence. It's a clear line that says, this is where you end, and this is where I begin. For someone who feels entitled to all of your space, time, and energy, a boundary feels like an act of rebellion. Stoicism, at its core, is about drawing and defending the ultimate boundary, the one around your own mind. The philosopher Epictetus, who was born a slave, taught that true freedom wasn't about your external circumstances, but about the internal power you have to choose. He said the main job in life is to separate what we control from what we don't. Your choices are yours alone. A boundary is simply you exercising that control. To a person who isn't used to hearing it, the word no can feel like a profound injury. They probably won't accept it gracefully. They may push, guilt trip, or even rage. They might demand an explanation, not because they want to understand, but because they're looking for a crack in your resolve. They want to pull you into a debate where they can twist your words against you. This is why a Stoic boundary is delivered with calm finality. It doesn't need a long-winded justification. Let's say a narcissistic family member makes an unreasonable demand on your time. Instead of offering a list of excuses, the Stoic you can simply say, "That doesn't work for me." When they inevitably ask, "Why not?" you don't have to give them ammunition. You don't need to defend your decision. You can simply repeat, "Because it's my decision," or "I'm not going to discuss it further." The key is to stay calm and firm, like a rock in the ocean. Their waves of manipulation will crash against you, but they won't move you. Each time you hold a boundary without getting angry or apologizing, you're teaching them a powerful lesson. Their control has limits. They're hitting a wall they can't argue with or manipulate. You aren't fighting them. You're simply showing them, through your actions, that their power over you is gone. The third way, master the art of Stoic calm. The narcissist's playground is chaos. They are often masters of creating emotional storms, and they feed on the intensity of your reactions. They may provoke you to break your composure, because an emotional person is a predictable person, and a predictable person is easier to control. When you get swept up in anger, you lose your footing. The Stoic response is to become the calm, quiet eye of their self-made hurricane. The philosopher Seneca, who had to deal with the volatile Emperor Nero, wrote about how destructive anger is, calling it a form of brief madness. He argued, "The greatest cure for anger is delay. By refusing to react in the heat of the moment, you take away their immediate victory and give yourself space to think clearly." Imagine the narcissist is having an outburst. They're shouting, making accusations, and trying to corner you emotionally. They expect you to shout back, to defend yourself, or to cry. They have a script ready for that. But what if you did something totally unexpected? You stay still. Your breathing is slow and steady. When you speak, your voice is quiet and measured. You don't engage with the rage. You might say something like, "I can see that you're upset. We can talk about this later, when you're calm." This response can be completely disarming. It's like they're trying to start a fire with wet wood. Your composure sends a message that's deeper than words. It says, "Your chaos is yours, not mine. I won't participate." Seneca believed that true power wasn't in explosive emotions, but in unshakable calm. He saw that tranquility as a sign of great power. This often leaves them confused. They've used up a ton of energy to provoke you and have gotten nothing back. Their accusations just hang in the air, unanswered. They are forced to confront their own behavior without the distraction of your reaction. They wanted a fight, but you offered them peace. And to someone who only understands the language of conflict, your peace can feel like a defeat. The fourth way, withhold the oxygen of justification. A common tactic in the narcissist's playbook is to put you on the defensive. They might constantly question your decisions and motives, forcing you into a never-ending cycle of explaining and justifying yourself. This is a trap. The goal isn't to understand you, it's to control the narrative. Every explanation you give them is another piece of thread they can use to weave a web of confusion and self-doubt. They can twist your words and use your own logic against you. You become the defendant in a courtroom where they are the prosecutor, judge, and jury. The Stoics taught that a good life is lived through action, not through endless arguments about being a good person. Marcus Aurelius gave himself this command: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. This principle is your shield. Your actions are your own, and they don't need the narcissist's approval or understanding. When you make a decision, you can learn to stand by it without feeling the need to build a fortress of justifications around it. Let's say you decide to change a routine that the narcissist usually controls. They'll likely challenge you. Why are you doing this? You can't just change things without explaining why. The old response might be to give them a detailed presentation of your reasoning. The Stoic response is to offer none. You can simply state, "This is what I've decided to do." If they press you, you don't have to engage in the debate. You can calmly repeat your position, "I've already made my decision," or "There's nothing more to discuss." You have to understand, your reasons are for you, not for them. Giving them reasons gives them power. It validates the idea that you're accountable to them for your own choices. By refusing to justify yourself, you're shutting down their courtroom. You're stepping down from your role as the defendant. You can imagine how frustrating this is for someone who expects an argument. They aren't prepared for quiet certainty. Your refusal to explain yourself communicates that you are the only authority on your own life. You're no longer looking for their permission. The fifth way, outsmart, pursue silent success. A person with strong narcissistic tendencies often lives in a state of constant comparison. Your success isn't a source of joy for them. It can feel like a threat to their fragile ego. They need to feel superior, and any achievement you have can cast a shadow on their self-image. Because of this, they might try to sabotage, diminish, or take credit for your accomplishments. If you get a promotion, they might say it was just luck. If you learn a new skill, they might mock your efforts. For this reason, one of the most powerful things you can do is to succeed in silence. Stop announcing your goals. Stop sharing every small win. Stop looking to them for validation. Instead, turn inward. Focus on your work, your growth, and your purpose. Let your results speak for themselves, quietly and clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." The narcissist might be loud and boastful, desperate for an audience. You can be the opposite. You can be calm, focused, and secure in your own progress. You build your empire in quiet dedication, while they're busy looking for applause. Imagine you've been working on a personal project. Instead of talking about it, you just do it. When it's finished, and the results are obvious, the narcissist is left with nothing to attack. They can't belittle a process they never saw. They can't criticize an effort they didn't know you were making. They are simply confronted with the finished product of your discipline. Your silent success can be incredibly powerful. When you remove them from the story of your growth, you make them irrelevant to it. Your achievements become a source of strength that is entirely your own, untouched by their negativity. They can see you're growing into someone they can't control or diminish, and that speaks volumes. The sixth way, practice empathy without engagement. This might be the most advanced of the Stoic strategies because it requires a lot of self-control. It's the practice of seeing the narcissist clearly, with a kind of detached empathy, without letting that understanding pull you back into their chaos. It can be helpful to understand that narcissistic behavior often comes from a place of deep-seated insecurity and shame. The arrogance can be a shield. The need for control can be a desperate attempt to manage inner turmoil. People who are in pain often cause pain to others. The Stoics encouraged us to understand the motivations of others, not to excuse their behavior, but to protect ourselves from it. We cause ourselves so much suffering by personalizing a narcissist's attacks. We think their rage is about us, or that their criticism is a true reflection of our worth. Detached empathy allows you to see their behavior for what it truly is, a symptom of their own struggles. When they launch into an attack, instead of feeling hurt or angry, you can observe them almost like a scientist. You can think to yourself, this is what deep insecurity looks like. This is how someone acts when they're afraid of losing control. This doesn't mean you say this out loud to them. It doesn't mean you become their therapist. And it absolutely does not mean you tolerate abuse. Empathy without engagement means you understand where the behavior might be coming from without letting it poison your own emotional state. You see their actions as a reflection of their character, not a judgment on yours. This mental shift is incredibly powerful. Their insults lose their sting because you realize they aren't really about you. Their manipulations become clear because you see the fear that's driving them. You stop being an actor in their drama and become a member of the audience. Nothing unsettles a manipulator more than being understood without being reacted to. It takes away their favorite weapon, your emotional investment. The seventh way, walk the path of noble departure. There are some battles where the only way to win is to strategically retreat. With a narcissist, long-term engagement is often a war of attrition that can drain your peace and well-being. The final, most profound act of Stoic power is to choose your own peace by walking away and not looking back. A narcissist may operate under the assumption that you need them. They may have worked hard to create a dependency, to make you feel like you're incomplete without them. They might see you as a permanent part of their world. The idea that you might simply choose to leave can be almost inconceivable to them. Marcus Aurelius taught that our happiness depends on the quality of our thoughts and that we have the power to create a peaceful inner world. Sometimes, the only way to protect that inner world is to remove the source of its constant poisoning. Leaving isn't failure. It's the ultimate act of self-preservation. It's choosing freedom over bondage. This might mean going no contact, if possible blocking their number, their social media, and creating a space where their influence can't reach you. They may not let you go easily. When they realize you're truly gone, they might get desperate. They may try to send messages through friends, show up where you go, or create new drama to pull you back in. They might even promise to change. This is all part of the game. A Stoic knows that real peace can't be negotiated with a source of chaos. To walk away is to declare that your own serenity is more valuable than anything they could offer you. This final act is the one they can't counter. You're no longer there to play. Your absence creates a quiet space they can't control, a powerful statement that you've chosen yourself. If these ancient strategies for finding peace and strength resonate with you, consider subscribing for more wisdom from Stoic philosophy. Like this video to help this knowledge reach others who might need it. And in the comments below, share which of these 7 ways you feel ready to put into practice. Your journey to freedom begins with a single choice. Conclusion. To recap, the 7 Stoic ways to reclaim your power are: starving them of your attention, forging unbreakable boundaries, mastering the art of Stoic calm, withholding the oxygen of justification, pursuing silent success, practicing empathy without engagement, and finally, walking the path of noble departure. These are not tricks or tactics for revenge. They are principles of freedom. Each one is a step that pulls you out of a chaotic orbit and back to your own center of gravity. Stoicism teaches a fundamental truth. Real power comes not from controlling others, but from mastering yourself. When you stop reacting, when you stop justifying, when you stop playing their games, you rise above them. You choose clarity over chaos, integrity over manipulation, and peace over conflict. The ultimate source of your strength isn't found in fighting back with anger. It's found in your indifference. It is the quiet, unshakable peace you build within yourself, a fortress they cannot breach, a world they cannot control. You become untouchable from within. Now, ask yourself, are you ready to reclaim your power?